Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is International Master Bindi Cheng with you guys today, and I'm going to be doing a game analysis of Bologan versus Carlsen from today. I think today is July 29th, and it was the round 3 game that they were supposed to play because Carlsen refused Morozevich's forfeit. Because I think Carlsen wanted to win rating points, and he didn't want to win that way, so he decided they decided to play a makeup game. And so today is their makeup game, and it started off like this. So Bologan, as you guys all know, he replaced Morozevich in the Biel tournament, and he has not done very well, to say the least. He's actually picked up right where Morozevich left off, and definitely not doing too well. Carlsen, on the other hand, has been doing okay. I would think he'd be leading tournaments, but I think Wen Hao is leading tournament right now. So he's not doing the best, but he's okay. I think he's in 3rd place right now, so it's not bad. There's still several more rounds to go. So this list line is supposed to be the bishop b5, Rossolimo, knight c6, and here Carlsen decides just to play d6. And one of the main lines here is actually e6. This d3, knight e7, castle, knight g6. Sometimes knight g6, sometimes d6 or e5, because sometimes when he plays d6, he just plays e5. So this gets to be very positional, and sometimes black has to play d5, and this pawn c5 kind of is not doing very well. I'm not exactly about this line, but I think actually f6 might be played sometimes. Knight g6, e5 kind of stuff, and white decides sometimes play a3, b4. So a game might go like this: a3, a5 to stop b4, obviously. Then white might play c3 to go for d4, and something like this might happen. I'm not a big expert on this line. I used to play this on the black side, but I never really studied theory for this, so I kind of just play my own stuff. It's probably not the best, so definitely might not be the best line. So here, Carlsen decided to just play d6. So harmless line would just be b6 here, because now there's no e6, right? So black can't just play e5 in one move. So white's gonna actually have to move faster than before, and this position gets to be very open really fast. For example, castle, e5, c3, and then d4 is coming. Sometimes black even plays f5. It's very tricky. I'm not very sure about this line either. I'm not a big expert on the Rossolimo, although I used to play when I was like a kid. But yeah, so here Bologan just plays the most principal move, just castle. It's one of the main lines, I think. Now bishop d7. So black can now play knight f6 or a6 to chase the bishop off, and black's gonna take on c6 with bishop. Rook e1. So now if a6, he just takes and play d4. So knight f6. So the key is white can't really play e5 because he can just take on e5 and win the piece, or win a pawn. So there's no point playing e5, right? So usually, so h3. So here for h3 is that sometimes when he doesn't play h3, if let's say he plays c3, a6 here, bishop g4, and this is one of the main lines actually, here, I think g7. And what usually happens is white's gonna play g4. Well, actually, he doesn't wait for him to, I think he's gonna play g4 here. Yeah, g4 here, knight h4, knight d7, and now he's gonna have to play knight g2 or knight takes g6. If he takes on g6, then this pawn takes, his rook has the open file, and black has a potential attack on the king side plus some weaknesses on the dark squares. In return, white gets the bishop here, so it's fairly even trade, and this position tends to be pretty equal. I guess he doesn't want that to happen, right? So Bologan decides to play h3 to stop that. So now, after e6, you can still play c3, but d5 kind of just ruins. Well, not d5. You just play g7 first. After d4, now d5. And usually, this line is okay most of the time, because the problem is white can't really take. White can do knight e4, and yeah, black's usually okay in these type of positions. The only problem is this bishop is not outside the pawn chain. Usually what happens is these bishops are exchanged off, and black is left with a good bishop versus a bad bishop, but white has the kingside attack, and black has to go on queenside, trade off some pieces. Usually it's a draw. So I think, so here c3. So yeah, here he just plays d5 immediately, and the key is, I think if he plays e5 here, he can just take it, which is something that I completely missed earlier. So yeah, you can just take this guy, because if he takes this guy, take this guy. So that is, I guess that's why I played e6 so early. That's why he didn't play bishop e7, because this wouldn't be as good. So that's something that I guess you guys can remember: d5, e5, knight 6 e5. Because it didn't really work this way, because this is what I was looking at actually. I thought this would work, but pawn takes and black actually loses a piece here. So yep, c3, d5, d3. See how long I have? 5 minutes. Okay, a6, bishop a4. This is pretty common. You don't want to exchange out the bishop for the knight in this position. Here. So takes. So here he took, because if he doesn't take, then white's gonna play e5. Have a big kingside cramp, and this knight really has nowhere to go. So he pretty much has to take this way, and now he's play e5 to stop white from playing e5. So we have pretty much like one main weakness: d5 square, and usually white's gonna try to play this, and here. But that's like the most common kind of idea. So we transpose from like a Sicilian Rossolimo to a Lopez kind of thing. It's kind of like the Lopez Shigorn line, if you guys know this, the Shigorn Lopez. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So I'm not too sure about the tempo losses or gains, but usually it should be like fairly okay. I think usually black has the knight on a5 actually. So yeah, that's kind of strange. So a4, okay. a4, this is pretty normal. And usually I think that white doesn't, I'm not sure about taking this pawn actually. Like I was looking at this game for a bit today. Wasn't too sure about taking this pawn, because now you give him the a file, which he doesn't have to give, I guess. But I mean, if he doesn't give it, sometimes he might just play b4 in some cases, and then create weakness here, maybe knight 5, some stuff going on here. But yeah, I'm not too sure. So bishop e7 takes, rook takes a8. So as you can see, I'm really trying hard not to use Houdini. I don't want to use an engine analysis for this game. So yeah. Alright, so queen takes a8, bishop g5. I think the best move is just knight a3 here. I'm not sure why he didn't just play this immediately, because as you can see pretty soon, it's kind of different. So after queen b8, it's part of the move. You got to defend this guy and this guy. I think now you can play bishop g5, and after b4 you can just play knight c4. If he plays say bishop e6, you can just play bishop e3 here, or not, because c4 might be coming. But here maybe you can just play queen e2 before you can play knight c4 here. I mean, I'm not like too sure what's going on, because so as you can see, after bishop g5 plays bishop e6, so now he doesn't really have well, I guess we'll see what's going on here. So knight a3, b4. And then just goes back. So I was kind of confused when this happened. I thought that he was going to do something active. Well, first of all, he can't do knight b5 because queen b8, and this knight's going to be forced to play c4, and then he's going to lose the pawn. And actually, this might get really bad. Actually, he might play the queen 2 instead. But he's going to have to take on b4 first, and obviously knight takes b4 doesn't do anything because bishop a4 check. So pawn takes and knight b5. After queen b8, probably just bishop takes f6 first, because if he takes this way, we got a check, which is pretty good. So pawn takes, bishop d3, let's say I castle, and got knight h4, right? So white has some clear points of attacks on the king side with this f5 square, plus his knight on b5. Doesn't seem to be in too much danger yet, because you have queen e2 always. If, let's say rook d8, you have queen e2 defending this this knight 3 times, well 2 times. And so yeah, white should be like doing fine here actually. I thought that this was gonna be what like more or less could have happened. I'm kind of confused why this didn't go on. Because what Bologan did was kind of like counterintuitive. Just moves the knight back without really doing anything. So castle, bishop a4. So he wants to just take this guy and this guy, obviously. So he plays h6, because if he takes this way, he can just take this way, right? So if he goes back, which he did, he's going to have to be forced to first attack the queen, knight d2, and obviously he can't move his queen anywhere because this bishop's kind of under attack. So g5. So what g5 has done is now it creates, it forces this bishop to go back to g3. This pawn's attacked twice, and black's going to have to play knight d7. So the thing is, in the game he just played bishop b3. I was looking at taking this. I don't think this is right, because Knight takes e5, knight takes, here takes, I think queen d7, this knight's actually done because of the pin here. So he's going to be forced to play something like queen h5. But I'm not too sure if this is going to work all that well. What's a move here? Oh boy. So okay, so queen here, here. So queen here. Okay. I'm not too sure actually. This knight seems to be doesn't do much because queen takes h6, threatening mate. Kind of confused here actually. Oh, never mind. Take this guy and probably just f6. I think this could probably work. Here takes probably 6. No. Maybe here. Bishop 7. And yeah, this is looks okay, I guess. Black's probably gonna be fine. So this is probably not gonna work. I don't want to check Houdini, but okay. I'm just gonna check it really fast, guys, just to. Fine. I'll check. Okay, I'll check it. I'm gonna check it. All right, I'll check this thing. So if he goes queen h5, he just takes it. Which yes, okay. All right, so I guess I'm good. Queen takes h6, so this pretty much loses. And f6, there you go. So sometimes I do get moves right, and according to this, I think I should be right. Okay, so I'm gonna go all the way down, and let's go back to the game. So yeah, so in this case, he can't really take on e5, and decides to just play bishop b3. Just look at the time here, 11 minutes. Knight f8, and here queen c2, f6. c4. There's nothing much to say because I think eventually he's just going to take this bishop off and create a good bishop versus bad bishop. Although that's kind of an illusion kind of thing. We'll see like why in a sec. Now e3. So the idea is if he takes this guy, take this guy. So he's going to take on this guy first, take on e6 with check, and rotakes. So okay, so now we pretty much exchange most of the stuff off, and as you can see, black has a bad bishop. White has a good bishop, but this is kind of just an illusion because this bishop has nowhere to go. He can't really sack on e5 or go anywhere because he has to get his knight away first and play f3. That takes time, and by that time, a lot of things can happen. For example, this pawn c3 might fall down, and this bishop, no matter even though it looks bad, you have this bishop can go here, and this pawn might just get taken away again. So black's position is perfectly fine. I thought this knight's it's fine. I mean, white has this f5 square and d5 square, which is fantastic, but he doesn't really have a point of attack. I mean, he has f6 and h6, but if he goes knight f5, let's say, knight f5, you just go bishop f8. If he goes knight d5, he can just go bishop d8. So, I mean, there's nothing really that white can do here, and at this time, I think there are certain grandmasters I see saying that, change color scheme, keep color scheme, okay. There are certain GMs on IC saying that black was worse, that white was better. I couldn't really agree. Like a lot of people actually were saying, the engines were saying that white was worse and that black was better. And then of course they were saying, don't trust engines, trust your play instead. But I just can't see how white can be better here because the bishop is just so awful and it doesn't really make sense to do much. So after rook a8, he's in control of the a file. h4, so white's going to try to get some play on the king side. Rook a2, king f1. So I think one of the suggestions that people were making was that white should just close the whole position up. Go for a draw, but it's not that easy because if he ever plays like c4, black gets this d4 square, and this d4 square is humongous. It's huge. That's kind of why he has knights here, because he's just waiting for him to play c4 or take on b4, because then he doesn't get this d4 square and he's fine. Black's all these pawns are in dark squares, but make no mistake, this bishop is fine. Sometimes the bad bishop is actually really, really good, and this good bishop is just an illusion. It's not really that good. So king f7, bishop h2. So for instance, bishop is kind of still not doing anything. Knight f5. So one of the things that black is going for him is that now he can play b3 if he wants, c4 if he wants, and just something like this. Pretty much anything can happen. He has so much stuff he can do here that I really thought that white was in serious trouble here, and I couldn't figure out how he could get out of this. And taking g5 probably doesn't do much, but now I think g4 should be played because As we'll see, white decides to do something fun here. I think rook 2 might not be the best move. I think g4 should have been, played again. Maybe he wanted to have his knight on g4, but not too sure what's going on here. b3. Now he decides to sack on e5. Alright, so this is really cool because if he decides to take this guy, I'm not have to use Houdini for this. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to use Houdini for this. So if he takes there, Houdini says knight takes to e5. Let's play king e8. Okay, which one's good? King e8 and say g3. And now all of a sudden, white's position is actually okay because he has c4 square. He has these 2 pawns for the piece, and this pawn's not going anywhere. And let's say he goes bishop 6. Apparently rook d6 is good. Actually, I was thinking of knight c4, but maybe rook d6 is better. Okay, so obviously white is still in the game, and black is not screwed. But yeah, so that sack was actually pretty damn good. But unfortunately, black quite kind of probably missed this move, and this is a really strong move. Because now instead of taking this pawn e5, black just says, I'm not taking your pawn. He just wants to get this knight to take on g4. Well, because if you go here, you just take this guy, right? He just wants him to take on g4 and on knight c4. It seems like this is still a free piece, but doesn't want to give him any chances whatsoever because now he's going to have 3 pawns for the piece, not 2. Just checking time. And he decides to just take on b2, which is pretty cool. He just ignores the piece here. So white's technically up a pawn, but this pawn b3 is worth like 3 pieces. So it's kind of dangerous. So knight d2, c4, protecting this pawn. Bishop g3, and knight d3, and this kind of ended the game here because I think he has to play king g1 here, but I mean, there's not much he can do because, for instance, let's say king g1, he can play, he can play pretty much anything. Let's say rook takes here, b2. He's going to sack it because he doesn't, he goes knight c1, right? So he's going to sack this guy, and this pawn's probably going to fall. And unlike the other position where white has 2 pawns for the piece, but he has counterplay, here he doesn't really have much because, for instance, if he plays f4, he can always just give him a check here. Or maybe not. Maybe let's not give him a check. Maybe let's just go for this pawn. Bishop, well, for instance, bishop e1. So he has to play f5. And let's say knight c5, e5, and let's say taking this guy, and this pawn's fine. I mean, black's going to keep this pawn. He's going to try to, he's gonna try to pretty much win with this pawn alone, and that's probably gonna be enough because I don't really see what else he can do. For instance, pawn takes f6, king a2, here takes, and he has this pawn, and maybe this is not the best way to continue this game because I'm not sure if he can actually win this now. So I may have screwed up there, but let's just go back, I guess. Knights. Alright, so I just want to see what's going on here. I'm not too sure. Oh, I see. Okay. So, what's he doing here? So, b2. Oh, wow. So, I kind of missed this idea that he can't go back down. And that if he goes anywhere else, he just queens, because his rook is hanging. Okay, so... Alright then. Good thing I have Houdini. Thanks. Thanks, pal. Couldn't have done without you. Alright, so knight d3. f4, this kind of just lost the game because after knight takes f4, the final blunder, he just gets mated because this is like mate in 3, I think. Here, and blah. So I think here he resigned after rook a1. Bologan just resigned. So this is probably not the best game to show Bologan, but it does, I guess, show that sometimes 2700s do make mistakes, and I do miss some of the moves as well. I'm kind of rusty, but yeah, this is actually a pretty good game of Carlsen. But I mean, Bologan just made some terrible mistakes on his own. I mean, I'm not too confident in saying like how he got into that position because I don't really usually see 2700s get their play into that. It usually doesn't happen that often that you see just a guy getting completely hammered in the round. And this is like, I think this is a double round robin actually. Let me just take a look at this. I think this is a double round robin. Yes, double round robin. So it's 10 rounds after 6 rounds. So there's 4 more to go. Bologan's already played, I think, 4 games because Morozevich played 2, and he's lost them all. I mean, it's pretty bad actually. He's probably having like a bad week and has some bad luck from Morozevich. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not the best game to show, but they have so many more complicated games that I really do not know how to say them. And plus, they have lots of King's Indian games, which I'll respect for some of my friends. I just don't do because I'll hammer it down really hard. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye bye.